We bought this property in this suburb for $660 off market in 2 days, whilst the house next door went online, had fierce competition and sold for $830. That's a $170,000 difference, same street, and that's just one of the deals I'm going to walk you through today. Harcourts Crossing is about 30 kilometers from Melbourne CBD. It takes about half an hour by car with the new Westgate Tunnel that just opened in December 2025 to get into the city. If you take the train, that'll be about 45 minutes. It's got a population of 37,000 people. There are about 15,000 homes here, which is about 2.5 people per home, which suggests that a lot of the homes here are occupied by families. There is a very high owner-occupier ratio in Harcourts Crossing. 75% of the suburb is made up of owner-occupiers, which is what we love when buying investment properties for our clients. We love buying in suburbs and pockets of the suburbs that are dominated by homeowners. Stock on market is very low in Harcourts Crossing, indicative of the tight supply. The stock on market here is only 0.18% and declining, so it's hardly any stock available. Good stock, even less so. You won't really see much coming on realestate.com. The hold period is 11 years. Families who live here hold on to their homes for ages, but in some of the streets that we buy in, people hang on to their homes for 20, even up to 30 years. The inventory level is 0.46 months, which shows that the stock that comes online gets absorbed really quickly. We're in the Bellbridge Estate of Harcourts Crossing. This estate was built in the mid-90s to the early 2000s. We love buying this pocket. It's very sought after by local families, especially like being close to the Cambridge Primary School. So if you can find a home in the school catchment zone between $700,000 and $750,000, that is great value. Homes here do sell for way more. They go up even into the $1 million mark, but I think you can still find value here between $700,000 and $750,000 in the school catchment zone. We find that it also gets rented out really quickly, so tenants love being in the catchment zone as well. The homes here are on concrete slabs, being fairly new for Harcourts Crossing, fairly new for an established estate. They're pretty well built. We bought this property for $660,000 while comparable sales were selling for $720,000. That's a $60,000 difference. And how we did that, we bought it on a Friday afternoon when most people are, buggering off, going to drinks. So we bought this home for our client off market on a late Friday afternoon for $60,000 below comparable sales. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath in the Bellbridge Estate. It's a beautiful family-friendly home. It's backing onto the Golden Square Reserve, just a short walk to the Cambridge Primary School and to the Werribee Plaza. It's very well connected to amenities like healthcare, schools, shops. A home like this today would be in the mid-7s, and the home next door to it sold for $830,000. And cut out the competition by buying when no one wants to buy. People don't like to do a deal on a Friday afternoon. They'd rather go to the pub, but we saved our clients $60,000 by buying late on a Friday afternoon. And we bought this property just before Christmas last year. This is Mackenzie Crescent. It's only a 10-minute walk to the Werribee Plaza. What I love about this, it's a big block, 650 square meters. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. Love 3-bed, 1-baths because that means a lot of the value goes to the land. The unique thing about this block is it's perfectly regular, and the side access, it's wide enough for a car to drive to the back, meaning it has future development potential. It has the ability to have a second dwelling at the back with its own car access down the track. It's also backing onto the reserve, which means that the second dwelling at the back can have its own gate that opens out into the reserve. And the benefit of putting that second dwelling at the back is to generate that extra cash flow or rental yield. We are now turning into Derrimut Road to head into the Woodville Estate. Derrimut Road is a main road, so we don't buy on Derrimut Road, but worth noting that it's got the Werribee Plaza on it. Aquapulse, which is a swim facility, is also on Derrimut Road, and the Heathdale Christian College is on Derrimut Road as well. So Woodville is the oldest estate in Harcourts Crossing that was first built in the 1970s till about 1985. That's where the train station is as well. A lot of the Woodville estate is built on stumps, so that's something to be mindful of when buying in Woodville. We do buy in Woodville. We think you can get some really good value there between $600,000 to $650,000. A comparable home in Cambridge would easily be $100,000 more. But you'll see as we drive into Woodville, coming from Cambridge, it feels like you're driving into a different suburb. So we're turning onto Huntingfield Drive. I don't buy anything on Huntingfield Drive. Say Huntingfield Drive and it's a firm no from me. There's just a lot of social housing on this street, and the majority of this street is made up of renters as well. Powell Drive is another street that I avoid. The other thing about these two streets is that it also backs onto the train line, which makes it doubly undesirable. Yeah, it looks very different to where we just came from in Cambridge. But the other thing to be mindful of, this part of the suburb contributes to the high vacancy rates that you can sometimes hear of in Hoppers Crossing. So it's harder to get a tenant into this pocket. So if you buy an investment property here, it could be vacant for months. So there's something to avoid completely. So Woodville, being the oldest estate in Hoppers Crossing, was built around the train station. It is a myth that you need to find a good investment property near the train. The train station has absolutely no bearing on it, and as you can see, some of the houses that we've just walked past really don't look that great at all and will not attract great tenants nor great future buyers. The locals don't actually like living in this part of Hoppers Crossing. Well, good morning. We're here today in Werribee, in Harcourts Werribee, with Petar Krjenta, who's the director. Well, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hayley. Really well. Yeah, it's a beautiful morning this morning. So
yeah, thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yep.
Would love to hear your thoughts. What is happening in the Hoppers Crossing market right now?
Yeah, so I'm finding the market's still very aggressive from say 650 to 850. Properties at the 6 to 800 still very affordable. You know, 22, 23 kilometres to the CBD. Properties are still performing quite well. Look, Hoppers Crossing, you're dealing with majority 70 to 80% first home buyers. Okay. So we do still do it for a lot of first home buyers. It's great entry buying, you know, central to absolutely everything. You're 37 kilometres to Geelong and you're 21 kilometres to the CBD. So you're right smack bang in the middle. I feel the buyers that are buying here are wanting that lifestyle, such as the surf coast, but still wanting to be somewhat an arm reach to the Melbourne CBD. So it really depends on what the buyer's profile is and what they're looking for. But majority are first home buyers, but we are seeing a lot of that now transition with the upsizes.
And what pockets do you find the locals buying? What pockets do the BAs buying? Because Hoppers Crossing is big. It's like 50,000.
Yeah, 17,817 is the exact number. But to say the exact points, it really depends on school zone. Yeah, where the family's motivated. I find some people will sell in Mossfiel, for example. That's a central part right next to the plaza and the station, and they will stay in Mossfiel, but they want the bigger home because there's 2 schools in that estate. Yeah. Then I'll meet other people that'll say, no, I want Cambridge Primary School. Yeah. So they purely want to be in that school zone. Yeah. Heathdale Christian College, a great school as well, need to be in the zone. You know, Westbourne Grammar, Al Taqwa, which is catered to all Muslim schools. So it really depends on the demographic, what their requirements are as a family, and really depends on what their criteria is. Yeah.
So we're now heading into the Mossfiel Estate of Hoppers Crossing. Mossfiel is the second oldest estate in Hoppers. It was built between the late 80s, between 1988 and 95. You'll find that the homes there are a mixture between homes on stumps and also on concrete slabs. So this is Heath Road. We don't buy anything on this road. It's just way too busy. Families don't like living on streets like that. Turning right into the Mossfiel Estate onto a street called Mossfield Drive. So Mossfield Drive is it's a thoroughfare street that runs through Mossfiel. I don't mind buying on there, but you just need to be careful about where you buy on. So we don't want to buy anything right here, for example. We're coming out into the home on the left there. I'll show you. Coming up on the left, the second home. It was sold for $650, maybe a month or 2 ago. Don't like it at all. Look at how busy the location is. Right on the intersection. There's a bus stop right in front of the house, and that's why it sold for fairly cheap. But none of the people who were bidding at the auction were locals. They were all interstate buyers. So we don't like buying stuff like that. Nothing on roundabouts, near busy intersections. But then further down the street, there's actually some really good buying on Mossfield Drive. So Mossfield Drive, you can find some really good value. I'll show you one that we recently bought. So this one on the left here, we bought off market. We bought it for $660. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. It has never been to market. It was owned by the same lady for about 40 years. but very well presented. So I was at the sale board with the sales agent taking a photo, and some locals came up to ask if they had more homes like that because they saw the sold board and said they really liked the area and really wanted to live here. So yeah, that's the stuff we buy in Mossfiel that's off market. But to the left here, we're turning onto Simons Avenue. We bought a property here for our clients who are based in Canberra. They bought this property. They had never seen it till it settled, and they actually said it was exactly as how it was described to them. The property did need a little bit of work. We bought it for $700,000 a few months ago. It needed a little bit of work, so we got a little bit of a discount, and in the end, purchase price was $685,000. But it's a 4-bed, 2-bath. It's got a double living. The clients replaced the fence, so you can see it's got a brand new fence. Where can you get a 4-bed, 2-bath double living in the school catchment zone on a very desired family friendly street for $685,000 today? The valuation for this just came back at $757,000, only a couple of short months after settlement. We're turning onto Hogan's Road to head to the Bellbridge Estate, which is another estate that we love buying in. Hogan's Road, again, another major road that we do not buy on. Houses here are going to be cheaper for a reason, but don't be fooled, don't buy here. People love living there for the school zone. There is a school called Bellbridge Primary School on Bellbridge Drive. So renters and home buyers seek out the school catchment zone in Bellbridge. Now very shortly, we're going to be turning left onto Morris Road. Again, tons of listings come up on realestate.com on Morris Road, but we don't buy there. It's just such a hectic road to live on. Sales agents will try and tell you how wonderful Morris Road is, how you can turn it into a commercial property. But the fact of the matter is, if you go to an open, you don't see that many families wanting to live there. Do you see a lot of investors?
Investors are still in the market. I am finding a lot of BAs still, buyers agents are in the market, still looking to purchase. And furthermore to that, interstate people that are, buying from Perth, Adelaide, Queensland, being that we're so affordable, and people can't believe the value that they're getting in Melbourne.
So here we are on Bellbridge Drive. There's a few bus stops here. You don't want to buy right in front of the bus stop. You don't want to buy within a few hundred meters from the school, just because school pickup and drop-off times will be a nightmare for traffic. Some of those side streets that we buy on, great location, walking distance to the school. So the average income of someone in Hoppers Crossing is about $82,000. The combined income for a couple would be around $160,000, $170,000, which makes buying something in between the $600,000 to $800,000 mark here very affordable for these families, even with interest rate rises. And affordability is pretty important when buying an investment property for capital growth. There you have it, guys. That's our suburb review for Hoppers Crossing. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. The suburbs we love investing in, the pockets to avoid. If you have a budget between $650 and $750, I think you still can get some serious value here. I hope this video was helpful. If you'd like some help with investing in Melbourne, feel free to click on the link below and book a call. I'd love to help you out.